Today I'm gonna be doing a different type of video. Avoid this area. Now, I don't mean that these are bad places to live. What I do mean is that each area has a different vibe, and I don't want you to make a mistake if that vibe doesn't fit you. So in this video, I'm gonna be talking about 10 different communities in the Greater Lansing, Michigan area, the different vibes they have. Hopefully by the end of this, you'll have a greater understanding of where you should focus on, what vibe you like. So I'm gonna go ahead and get after it right now. My name is Cypher. I'm a top producing realtor in the Greater Lansing, Michigan area. And I get phone calls all the time from people who are relocating to the Greater Lansing, Michigan area from all across the country, all over the world. And if you're looking to move here in 6 days, 60 days, 6 months from now, whatever that timeline might be, feel free to reach out to me anytime. I'm never too busy to take your call, email, text, or if you want to schedule a Zoom call with me, I do have a link to be able to get on my calendar and be able to talk face to face. I would love to do that as well. All my contact information, it's in the description below. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel, because what you'll find when you scroll my channel is you'll find over 100 videos to talk about all the different communities I'm going to be talking about, their pros, their cons, a little bit more in depth. So I want to get into 10 communities and their different vibes. Why am I doing this? Because what I don't want is for you to move to Michigan. And what happens is you move to an area because you liked a photo that you saw in Zillow of the home, but you had no clue what the vibe was going to be like or the area. And so then a year down the road, you go, hey, Troy, I want to sell my house after a year. And you know what? You might have to owe money to be able to sell it. You don't want that. You want to live in an area where it suits you, where it suits your family, where it suits your lifestyle, all of that. So I'm going to be talking about the 10 different communities, their vibes. I'm probably going to give a little bit of a tip too to say, hey, avoid this area if, okay? So the first place I'm going to feature, probably the most popular, but I am gonna be calling it by a different name in this video, Meridian Township. But Meridian Township features Okemos and Haslett. Okemos is one of the most popular suburbs, but I'm putting Okemos and Haslett because they both have great school systems and they're right next to each other. So if you're not familiar with where Okemos and Haslett are, or where Meridian Township is, it's on the eastern part of Lansing, just east of East Lansing. If you haven't been watching my channel for long and you didn't realize this, they have one of the most popular school systems in the state. So a lot of people that move here because of the schools, but a lot of people that move here are also professionals, people who work at the hospital, people who are Michigan State University professors, people who are higher ups, maybe even at Delta Dental. Delta Dental is a corporation that's in Okemos and has a lot of IT people that work there that live in Okemos. So you are going to have more polished professionals in Okemos and Haslett. It's also where Lake Lansing is. So Lake Lansing, you're gonna have some people that are gonna love the lake life a little bit. And there's just a lot of neighborhoods within there. Meridian Township does have a mall. They do have some retail that's there, but for some people, they feel like maybe Meridian Township is a little too polished. As far as home values go in Meridian Township, you'll find that homes go on average from $400,000 all the way up to about $600,000 or $700,000. There are some luxury homes that are in Okemos, some huge McMansions as well. So there is more of the luxury real estate in Okemos. So what I will say about Meridian Township is this, is if you don't want to live in an area where it's gonna be a little bit more polished, feel a little bit more suburban, then I would avoid Meridian Township. The other thing I will tell you about Meridian Township too is that there really is no downtown anywhere. So you're not gonna have the small quaint downtown to be able to go to. There's not really a lot of local business in Meridian Township as well. The other thing about Meridian Township is there's not a lot of nightlife. That's why there's a lot of families there too. They're not really into the nightlife as well. So that is Meridian Township. Number 2 area I want to feature with the vibe is East Lansing, home of Michigan State University. So the main vibe of East Lansing is that it has Michigan State, so a college town. There's over 50,000 students that are at Michigan State, but it is walkable in a lot of areas. There are some bike trails and they have a lot of lanes for bike lanes on the streets, on the roads. They really have a huge initiative of just being able to try to eliminate as many carbon emissions as they can. So they are more green than a lot of the areas. And Michigan State University, it helped shape East Lansing, okay? But the one thing I want to tell you about East Lansing is that there are different pockets of East Lansing where it's not just a college town. Okay, I don't want to say like everything is a college town, but there are going to be a lot of college students when you do go to the Meijer, which is like a Walmart there, or when you go to like Eastwood Town Center or downtown East Lansing especially. There are going to be more students during the school year. During the summer, they go away, they have summer break. So for those of you who are looking to move to East Lansing, but you really don't want to have potentially a lot of college kids around, this might not be the vibe for you. A lot of people in East Lansing end up spending around $300,000 to around $700,000. If you're in some of the older homes with character, which is Glencairn, that's what East Lansing has. They do have several homes surrounding the campus that are very historical homes and are older. You might be spending around $500,000 for those homes as well. But the thing that's nice about those neighborhoods is that you can walk or take bus transportation to wherever you want to go. So East Lansing has some great perks. There are some pockets that are away from the students, but if you want to kind of avoid having the hustle and bustle of college students during certain times of the year, then you definitely want to avoid that area. The number 3 area that I want to feature is Lansing. Obviously, I've been talking about Lansing, Michigan life. That's what my channel's called. So Lansing Proper, I'm talking more the downtown or within like a few mile radius of the center of town. So in this area, you're gonna have just more of an urban feel, but also you're gonna have homes that are built close together, a lot of older homes. In fact, Lansing doesn't have a lot of new construction or a lot of areas where they can build new construction homes. So you are depending on homes that a lot of them were built in the 40s, 50s, 60s. There are some very historical neighborhoods and there are some nice neighborhoods in Lansing, but the average price of a home in Lansing right now is around $150,000 to $200,000. Now you could spend about $250,000 to $300,000 on a home in Lansing, but your taxes are going to be higher. But the downtown Lansing area has lots of museums. They do have walkability there. So for those of you who are looking to be able to be close to the center of museums or even a Lugnut Stadium, which is Jackson Field, or to be close to areas that are gonna be built up even more like the Capital City Market, or to be able to be close to even a lot of the development that's going to be happening because they are building a performing arts center in the downtown. If you wanna have a little bit more of that vibe and maybe be able to get to know a lot of your neighbors in closer quarters, this might be the place for you. But I would avoid this area because it doesn't have the same vibe as some of the suburbs. If you're wanting something a little quieter, that's a good word to be able to use, then I would stay away from Lansing then. The 4th place I want to feature is Williamston. Now Williamston is the furthest east city of Lansing that I'm going to be talking about. And Williamston is about another 5 to 10 minutes away from Okemos, so it's further east than Okemos. The thing I will say about Williamston, it's a charming town. It's smaller. It's like the schools, there's not as many students in the schools. They do have a small community theater in there that brings professional actors there. They have a mill that's there, a log mill that basically talks about the history of Williamston. So that's why I say it's more historical there. But there are a lot of people that they might be commuting from Brighton to go to Williamston because it's about a 20-30 minute drive there. And if you are looking to commute to Lansing and you're looking to work there, Williamston's gonna be one of the furthest out of all these cities I'm gonna be talking about for your commute. And so that is something to be aware of. You're gonna be about 25-30 minutes away from GM or the main hospitals, depending on traffic. But again, they do have a very nice rural vibe to them. A lot of homes in Williamston are going for what Okemos prices are going for. So $350,000 and upwards to $600,000. And they have a lot of homes that have land. So there's $1 million plus homes that are in Williamston or in Williamston schools, huge luxury homes. The schools are a huge draw to people to go to Williamston as well. In fact, I heard a tip from someone that everyone talks about Okemos for schools, but Williamston actually has had more Ivy League grads at Williamston schools than Okemos. So little tidbit, you can research it, but that was a really cool fact that I heard recently as well. So Williamston then, what I would tell you about Williamston is that if you don't want to be far away from your commute, like you want to be there within 10 to 15 minutes, Williamston probably isn't the place for you. If you want to have something where you're going to be a little bit closer to some things, because Williamston, all they have is their downtown. They don't really have a whole lot of fast food places, or they have a grocery store, but they don't have like a Meijer that's close by. If that stuff is going to be too far away from you, then maybe you don't want to move to Williamston as well. okay? Number five place is Grand Ledge. Grand Ledge, or I'd like to also put Delta Township there. So we're moving to the west side. We went all the way from the east side for Williamston to the other side of Lansing, which is the west side. This is a very up and coming area. But I will say, I feel like Grand Ledge and Delta Township feels a little bit more urban than what Meridian Township does. I mean, Grand Ledge has a mall. They have a strip called Saginaw Highway that has everything on it. It has fast food, it has restaurants, it has Walmart, it has the new Delta crossings that has all this new development and building. So what we've noticed over time is that Grand Ledge Delta Township is starting to become a little bit more crowded. Grand Ledge Delta Township, like Delta Township is gonna have more neighborhoods within it all throughout with all of the retail there. Grand Ledge is a little bit more spread out. You might be able to find some more country properties in Grand Ledge, but the city water isn't all that great over there either. They have a nice historic downtown with some local boutique shops. So for Grand Ledge, definitely move there if you want to have a place that might have some lower taxes compared to the eastern part. Okay, that's number one. But also, Grand Ledge is going to have a lot of the retail that probably like you're used to and accustomed to, but definitely stay away from Grand Ledge if you don't like the hustle bustle. If you don't like to, move from traffic light to traffic, on the weekends especially, or during rush hour. So Grand Ledge does have more crowds because of the retail there. So if you want to avoid the crowds, then stay away from Grand Ledge. Number 6 place that I'm going to feature is DeWitt. DeWitt, so we're going to the north of Lansing. What I will say about DeWitt is that they're an area that's similar to like Okemos and Haslett, to where there's a lot of neighborhoods. It doesn't have as much as what Okemos and Haslett have as far as like retail or dining or entertainment. They do have really close highway access. So for those of you who are looking to commute over in DeWitt, it's really easy to be able to get on the highway and get to where you want to go in 10 or 15 minutes towards the northern part of town. So I know I didn't mention with Grand Ledge what the home prices were. Grand Ledge is a little bit cheaper than some of the areas, like roughly like $300,000 to upwards of $500,000 in Grand Ledge. You go to DeWitt, it is higher, about as high as what Okemos is right now. When we're looking at the data, homes in DeWitt are going for high 300s at least, upwards to 6, 7, 800,000. And if you're on a country property, there are some $1 million properties in DeWitt. But the thing with DeWitt is that they continue to build more neighborhoods. So we're just adding more and more neighborhoods in DeWitt. They have a small, little eclectic downtown, but a lot of families tend to move to DeWitt. And the vibe is just going to be more family-friendly neighborhood that has your Meijer, has your fast food, okay? So avoid DeWitt if you don't want to have a little bit more of like the peace and quiet and the family vibe, okay? I mean, that's just something that you need to be aware of. Number 7 has to do with Holt. So we're going from the north, now the opposite side, down south. So the southern part of Lansing. So Holt is a very unique area. It has one of the largest school systems in the area with Okemos, but the school system isn't as popular as what Okemos is. Holt has a lot of neighborhoods throughout, but they also have plenty of country properties as well. And Holt, the southern part where you're gonna go for your retail and your dining, like that's the southern part of Lansing. It's gonna feel more urban. Maybe it might be a little bit more run down over there. So the good thing about Holt is that the home prices aren't nearly as high as some of the other suburbs, like on average 300,000 up to, I'm not really seeing a lot of homes in Holt going for over 400 to 450,000, because I know I gave you a top end that was much higher than some of these suburbs. So it is a little bit more of an affordable option. The taxes are a little bit higher there, but it does have one of the largest school systems in the area. So there are a lot of families there, lots of neighborhoods, but you kind of mix the urban of Lansing with the suburban of Holt, where you have all the retail and you have like just that mix right there of suburban with urban, okay? So avoid Holt if you wanna have a really strong identity with where you live, because Holt just is kind of, they don't have a lot of character homes. And I'm not knocking Holt. It's just, if you wanna be in an area that you're like, okay, this is the vibe I want, like, then Holt, I'm not saying it's blah, but it is just kind of, there's not a ton to do there. And it doesn't seem like it's growing as much as some of the other areas. So it's just something for you to be aware of. But it is a great community. All these communities are great communities, but again, it has to do with your vibe, right? Number 8 is St. John's, Michigan. So we're going south, we're going further north of DeWitt. So all the way as far north as I'm going in this video. St. John's, Michigan. So it's about 10-15 minutes north of DeWitt. So your commute, if you're working at University of Sparrow or the state of Michigan, it's gonna take you about 20-25 minutes. So St. John's has a strip with an Applebee's, has a Walmart. For a while, like they were building a lot in St. John's, especially the first 5 years that I lived in Michigan. St. John's was starting to be booming. They have a cider mill that's even further north. So things are a little bit more spread out. Things are a little bit more country. In St. John's, for the last, like I would say 10 years, nothing has happened in St. John's. There really hasn't been a lot that's been built. There's been a lot more that's been built in DeWitt than there has been in St. John's. And they have had some, like they had a dairy plant open with some jobs, but it didn't really do a whole lot to like move the needle with having more retail there. So St. John's is going to have a more quieter, country, rural feel, and maybe a little bit slower pace in St. John's compared to some of these other suburbs. So avoid this area if you're wanting to be closer to more things. I mean, St. John's definitely has neighborhoods and they have a decent population, but a place that's gonna have a lot more growth as well. Okay, hopefully that clarifies how St. John's is. Number 9 area, I'm gonna go all the way north to all the way south. You notice like I just like to do opposite directions here, right? So number 9, I'm going all the way as far south as I'm gonna go to Mason, Michigan. So this is about 10 minutes south of Holt, 5 to 10 minutes depending on where you're looking on the highway. And there are people that commute from Jackson to Mason, but I feel more people commute from Mason to Lansing. And Mason is more historical than Holt. Well, they were being considered to be the capital of Michigan at one point. But they have the county seat, so there's a courthouse there, there's a historic downtown. I have a great video just showing the downtown with a lot of antique shops, just lots of homes with character on the main streets. They have a historical museum there. It's not as diverse down in Mason, that's one thing I'll tell you. And there are not a lot of new neighborhoods that are being built in Mason because it is just a little bit more spread out. Like some of the newer neighborhoods they built, they must have trouble trying to find some sort of public water, public sewer hookup just because of how spread out Mason is. So it's almost like I went from the opposite north of St. John's, you know, that was more country rural. Now I'm going south in Mason, and I feel like they're actually both of them, like St. John's is the county seat for Clinton County, and then Mason is the county seat for Ingham County. They both have courthouses there. I feel like Mason, though, has a little bit more of its own identity with the antiques, the historical charm than St. John's does. Just my opinion. Number 10 area with the vibe that you gotta be aware of is Charlotte. Now, I am using a little bit more of the suburbs here. Charlotte is more the southwest part. So up north in St. John's, you got homes probably like if you're in the city area, you know, in St. John's, 250,000 to 350,000. It's the same thing in Mason, 250,000 to 350,000. Same thing with Charlotte as well, like around 250,000 to 350,000. If you look at the average data, like these 3 cities, their average price point is the same, although some of these suburban areas are really starting to climb in appreciation for home prices because the taxes are a little bit less at some of these areas. Not necessarily Mason City. Mason City has high taxes, but some of these outskirts where out in the country, their taxes are a lot less. So you're seeing a lot more people for affordability start to look at these areas. So Charlotte, spelled Charlotte, okay, it's not Charlotte, it is Charlotte, southwest part, and it's actually another county seat. So I've ended with the 3 county seats. Charlotte is the Eaton County seat. So they have a courthouse there too. I feel like they have a really charming downtown as well. It's just the thing with Charlotte is that, you know, it's gonna feel like Williamston. It's gonna be a little bit further out from where you wanna go. If you're working on the west side of town, like so Grand Ledge, Delta Township, where Auto Owners is, Charlotte's probably gonna take you about 15 minutes. It's not gonna be that bad. But if you're working for the state of Michigan, towards the center of town, or any of the hospitals, it's gonna be a good 25, maybe even more minute drive, almost like how Williamston would be. But Charlotte has its own identity because they have like a performing arts center that I feel is one of the best in the areas called the Charlotte Performing Arts Center. They bring the Lansing Symphony Orchestra, actually plays there. Like I said, they have a historic downtown that has a lot of boutique shops in it as well. So the big thing that I would say with Charlotte, avoid this area if you don't want to have to commute to your job as much. And it's going to have a similar feel to, I feel like with St. John's, like I feel like there's a little bit more to do in Charlotte than St. John's. I would say that Charlotte and Mason might be comparable, but Mason has that huge following with antiques, a lot more history in it. Charlotte, it is pretty much, you have road that has all the fast food, everything there, and that's about it, and so you're not gonna have as much traffic there. Well, on that main strip, you might have a lot of traffic, but it's gonna feel a little bit more spread out, and there's not gonna maybe be as much there, but they do have some nice little perks in Charlotte, and it is a little bit cheaper to live there. So hopefully, this video gave you an idea of each of the 10 places, what their identity is like, what might fit your vibe the most, and especially in an area like Lansing, and just with the way our nation is right now with the economy and affordability, you're gonna wanna be able to settle in a place that, yes, you're gonna feel good about, but that you can afford. So some of these places have cheaper taxes than other places. Some of you who are really data-driven have a mortgage payment in mind. And I do wanna kind of create a challenge to those of you who are so data-driven to know that a home is an emotional sale. You gotta feel the vibes. You gotta know what area is going to fit the best with your values, with your lifestyle. So, hopefully these 10 areas, you have an idea now of where you should aim to live, and hopefully you are able to make it work. And I'm here to help guide you through that if you need me. All my contact information is in the description below. And you know what, if you like this video, I would appreciate a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already so that you can be notified when new episodes of Lansing, Michigan Life go live. And I think that's it, folks. So hopefully this was really informative to you. I covered a lot of territory. But again, if you have any questions, reach out anytime. And until the next episode, take care and make it a great day.